Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Bowmaster619 here, and welcome to a unique live stream. Is that so? Yes, as the title and the lighting, of course, suggests, this is a candlelight live stream. I'm moving the candles a little bit closer so that maybe you can see me a tiny bit better. So, welcome one and all. This is actually kind of cool. Kind of creepy looking, but kind of cool. There, now you can see me. I'm not going to hold that right there because I don't want to accidentally catch my beard on fire. Because that might be a little bit bad. So, tonight, excuse me, I still have a bit of a sinus infection. It's not too bad, it basically just feels like I've got a couple of balloons up in my nose. Other than that, it's alright. So, because of the fact that I'm still feeling a little bit under the weather, so to speak, I'm going to be doing a very brief tasting review of Spirit Hound Distillers White Dog Moonshine. Again, I'm only taking a small taste of this, and I know that in the past I have had hot toddies when I've been sick that have helped me to sweat out what it was I had. Whether or not they actually did kind of remains to be seen. So that's up in the air. It's kind of whatever the case is. I didn't even quite catch this until now, but I just realized that one of the candles is actually being held up by an Irish whiskey bottle that's been empty for a while, but because of the design of the bottle, it works perfectly as a candle holder. So, on to talking about this. I got this the other day. I finally managed to make it back up to Spirit Hound Distillers. I got two different bottles from them. One was a honey whiskey, which is aged in a barrel that they aged honey in. At least I believe that's what they said it was. And they also aged. The way that it worked was they actually got in contact with some local beekeepers and gave them one of their big whiskey barrels that they had already aged whiskey in, obviously, and let them age some honey in that whiskey barrel to kind of absorb some of the flavor from the whiskeys. Because my English is so great. So after that, they went ahead and bottled up, jarred up, whatever terminology you wish to use, the honey. And then, if I remember correctly, they didn't really explain this too much, but what I can assume is that they then took one of their whiskeys that they'd already aged for a while and refilled the barrel briefly to kind of let the flavor soak into the whiskey and let the honey kind of dissipate into the whiskey, and then rebottled it that way. I really should have asked a few more questions, but I was in kind of a hurry that day. I was trying to get home to test out my arrows that I have been making the last few days. I did get to test them, and I must say, I think those are some of the best flying arrows I've ever used. Unfortunately, one of the arrowheads came off in the damn target, so unfortunately that's a little bit of money down the drain, but because of the fact that that target is very old and I'm probably going to be scrapping it soon anyway, before I do actually scrap it, I'm going to be tearing it apart and getting all the tips that came off in the target out of there. So, yeah, whatever the case is, we're good to go. Now, the interesting part here is that this is basically what a lot of places and people refer to as white whiskey, which, as you can see, it is completely clear. And I did actually ask them what the difference between moonshine and vodka is. The biggest difference is the fact that vodka is distilled so many times that it essentially becomes almost pure alcohol, because there is no way to really get 100% alcohol, because there's always going to be moisture that's going to be absorbed into the alcohol itself. It doesn't matter how good of a distilling process there is, there's always ambient moisture even in the air. So You can never have exactly 100%, but you can get close, and that obviously is where they get things like Everclear and 99% rubbing alcohol and things of that sort. Now, the reason that it's not typically 100% when you get whiskey, or excuse me, when you get vodka, is because they water it down, which is what they do with most of them. When they distill it initially, it has to be distilled to a certain amount, typically around 120 proof, I think, which is known, at least there at Spirit Hound, as cask strength, which I do still have a bottle of. So that's around 120 proof. That's around 60%. 60% is the most cut and dry of it. The cask strength I have is around 63%, so you get the idea. It's around in that same area, anywhere from 120 to 130 proof. And it's the exact same with this. What they do is they distill it a couple of times to get it to around that approximate strength for whiskey, and then they cut it down with water, bottle it, and sell it. And white whiskey is actually a very interesting type of spirit. If I have the chance, I will go ahead and do a review of this with Lord Mechanicus, like I do with some of my other ones, and we will see what his personal opinion of it is as well. And I do have another Spirit Saturdays that it needs to get uploaded. It has just been absolute hell the last few weekends, and I have not had the opportunity to upload it, so I do apologize. I still have a tiny bit of editing to get done on it, and that's why. If it was fully edited, I can simply just pull up the computer, hit the upload button, and let it go from there, and not have to worry about it. Don't worry about that in the background. That's just Bella and Midnight playing. Just stay away from my table, please. I don't need these candles falling over and starting a fire. Don't you argue? One of these days, I seriously need to record this because it is hysterical. Belle, our dog, cat play together. Because they get pretty rough. Alright, so. So this is actually one of my smaller tasting glasses, and that's the entire point for this. Now, my sense of smell is kind of limited because of the fact that I do still have a head cold. But I can tell you, it's actually got a very sweet note to it. It actually smells quite good. It doesn't have a caramel smell to it, which most whiskeys do, because of the fact that this one isn't actually aged in oak barrels like most whiskeys are. Almost kind of a sugarcane type smell. Like, if you ever smell just regular sugarcane and not actual processed sugar, it does have a unique smell to it. And the flavor is so unique comparatively to other whiskeys. Especially this one. I've had a couple of white whiskeys in the past as well as a white rum. And again, it might have also been the simple fact that I wasn't much of a spirit connoisseur at the time. I didn't particularly care for them, so I couldn't have given a good review on it. But this one has a it has a good sweetness to it, which is, of course, from the corn and the grains that they use. Very smooth. Has a little bit of a spicy note. Oh, I swallowed wrong. Ooh, I'm breathing fire. Ooh. So again, it has that mild sweetness that you get from the corn, a bit of a sugary taste. Oh. Dry finish, pretty astringent. Astringent. I'm having trouble talking if that says anything about how astringent it is. And if you don't swallow right like I did that time. Doesn't go down too smooth. But honestly, overall, if you can manage to get your hands on Spirit Hound Distillers, I definitely recommend their White Dog Moonshine. I think I cracked a joke saying that it should have been called White Wolf Moonshine or something to that effect. I mean, come on. Moonshine, and it's a dog. Come on, that's easy grounds for making some kind of a werewolf gag right there. Oh, man. And it is also a 45%, which makes it a 90 proof, for those of you that were wondering about that. So, I'm going to go ahead and wrap that up here. And I am going to say that I do apologize to everyone out there. One of my biggest issues in regards to me personally being a YouTuber is I'm not consistent. And I can admit that. When I do something wrong or I know that there is a fault, I do my best to try and admit it and move past it. There are times when I am very consistent with YouTube, and that can be seen in my video history, where I have had times where I have uploaded on a very regular basis, and I made sure to keep on that schedule, but then I just sometimes get off track, and it can be a little difficult for me personally to kind of pick it back up. So, yeah, I'm not making up excuses. I'm just saying that I know what the problem is, and I am working on it. And essentially, I'm just not consistent, and I can admit that. So, to all of my loyal supporters out there, my loyal fans, thank you very much for your support. And I'm going to go ahead and give a shout out to Aaron currently. I just saw your video recently about the Reaper hot dog from 7-Eleven. I did not know that 7-Eleven had something like that, so if I can manage to find a 7-Eleven near me, if they have it, I'll go ahead and give it a try. Because, as you all know out there, I am a bit of a spice fan. I'm nowhere near as much of a chili head as Russ or Mechanicus or even the LA Beast, but I do enjoy a bit of spice in my food, so I'll be sure to give that a try. Until next time, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, yeah. Boost. Canned oxygen. Actually, some good stuff. Obviously, I'm not sponsored by them, but because of my asthma, it never hurts to have a couple cans of that on hand. It's actually saved my butt a couple of times. But again, thank you all so much for watching. Stay tuned for the next video coming out. Hopefully, it will be the next Spirit Saturdays episode. I've already mentioned the other 3 tasting boxes that I have ready to go for that. But until then, this is Bowmaster619 out. As always, drive safe, stay safe, never stop learning, and I will see you guys in the next video. Take care.